Ah, Paris, the city of love and the most romantic place on earth. This photogenic city has gorgeous architecture, numerous cafes and restaurants which serve the most sumptuous food, and the chance to create memories that ought to last you a lifetime. How nice would it be to wear the trendiest clothes, sit down in your favorite boulangerie while eating a chocolate croissant and listening to music in Paris, of all places? For many people, Paris is their dream destination, and they would do anything, including skip on lattes, to save enough money to see and experience the city. If Emily in Paris had got you on a Parisian high and you had been itching to see the City of Lights, you should take time to pause and consider the reasons why you shouldn't go there. After all, you can only make the best decision after you weigh the pros and cons. In this video, we're going to tell you why you should skip Paris and visit other charming French and European cities instead. Let's begin. But first, a simple reminder on how to enter our brand new giveaway. We're going to be giving away either an iPhone X Max, the new iPad mini, or MacBook Pro. It's all your choice, so be sure to leave a like, comment the keyword, subscribe, and turn on post notifications to enter the giveaway. It's that simple. The French are not very nice to tourists. French people have a reputation for being, well, let's just say rude, or maybe they're just unfriendly to everybody. Generally speaking, Americans are raised to smile at strangers. However, the French were not raised that way. To be fair, they just don't smile at people they don't know, so they come across as unfriendly. However, Parisians in general are pleasant and nice people. A few international surveys had found that Paris is one of the world's most hostile places for foreigners, especially tourists, but it's the service industry that gives the city a bad reputation. Most tourists only interact with locals in the service industry, and they end up generalizing the entire city as rude. This problem with the service industry has been admitted by the French implicitly by issuing a politeness manual for people who work in the service industry. The local government also went as far as hiring smile ambassadors to be friendly to tourists visiting the main attractions of the city. However, we still hear about tourists complaining. The thing is, you can go somewhere else with more hospitable and accommodating people who will smile at you and provide you with excellent customer service. So why insist on going to Paris? Paris is well known for its pickpockets. Paris, like any popular tourist destination, suffers from petty crime, and the City of Lights is notorious for pickpockets. These miscreants normally work near more touristy attractions like restaurants, museums, hotels, trains, airports, train stations, subways, and monuments. The authorities in Paris have reported that pickpocketing activities in November 2019 had increased by 74% compared to the year prior. From January to October 2019, there were almost 8,000 reported thefts, compared to only a little over 4,700 for the same period the year before. Most, but not all of them, work in groups and are often adolescent aged because it's nearly impossible for minors to go to jail in Paris. To avoid being a victim, you should only use purses with zippers and carry them tightly under your arm and in front of you. It's impossible to see things at the back of our heads, so always keep your purse where you can see it. Don't put anything in your wallet that you're willing to lose, and only keep what's essential. Although city police have increased their presence in crowded areas, it's best to avoid these places altogether. The Eiffel Tower is another reason to not visit the city. When you're in Paris for a limited number of days, you better think twice about visiting the Eiffel Tower. Yes, it is Paris's most iconic landmark for many reasons, such as historical and its magnificent beauty, but there are still plenty of other reasons to avoid it altogether. You're going to need an endless supply of patience if you want to see the Eiffel Tower, because there will be lines upon lines upon lines of people who want to go to the top and get their picture taken, just like you. You will be waiting for upwards of 3 to more hours, and not only that, there is a queue for everything: buying tickets, security check-ins, elevator to the second floor, queuing for other elevators to the summit, and then again for the elevator to take you back down. There is no personal space in the Eiffel Tower, so if you are claustrophobic, just skip it entirely and go somewhere else. Tourists are tightly packed in the elevators, and you'll be smelling all types of odors while inside. The tight spaces don't end in the elevators. They go with you to the summit and back down as well. Then there's there's always the possibility of the Eiffel Tower closing unpredictably. When this happens, it's typically only the summit that's closed, but what's the point of queuing if you can't even go to the top? Closures are usually due to inclement weather conditions and security threats. Paris gets inundated with tourists all the time. The City of Love brings in about 30 million tourists every year, and it's one of the most visited cities on Earth. If you do go to Paris, you can always expect large crowds and long lines for just about everything. For someone who hates tourists, oh, the irony. Paris is not for you. Tourists are everywhere. There will be foreigners to your left, your right, front, center, behind you. This is especially true of the well-known attractions like the Eiffel Tower and the Louvre. Fortunately, there is a couple of things that you can do to ensure that you have minimal interaction with other people, and that is to buy tickets in advance online whenever possible, and then visit the big museums on weekdays when it's quieter and visit the smaller ones on the weekend. Another option that you do have is to just see the attractions from the street across and admire the buildings from afar, but the truth of the matter is, wherever you go, there is no escaping tourists in the city. This is also one of the many things that make Parisians dislike tourists in general. The City of Love has frequent strikes. Strikes are actually pretty common in Paris, and they can affect your plans of seeing the city. So there's another tally mark for reasons to just skip Paris entirely and go somewhere else in Europe. If this is a concern for you and you still want to continue with your plans, talk to the travel staff at the hotel where you're going to be checking in and ask them what you should expect. Generally, the hotel and tourism industry do try their very best to make sure that visitors are not affected by said strikes. It's easy to get overwhelmed when you go to Paris. Paris has been immortalized in various films, songs, books, and paintings, so it's very easy for first-timers to get swept up in the romance. Paris, after all, does have plenty of sidewalk cafes where you can go people-watching, museums where you can explore the works of some of the greatest artists, and a vibrant culture where you can completely immerse yourself. It is easy to end up overlooking some of the things which truly make Paris unique and interesting. It's also easy to get swept up in the hype and do what most tourists do and forget to truly have a life-changing experience. If it's your first time in Europe, or if you only have a few days to spend in the city, skip Paris and go discover other cities that are similar and less formidable. If money is a concern for you and you have a limited budget, Paris is not for you. It's no secret that Europe's trendiest city is also one of the costliest. When you compare the prices in Paris to other cities in Europe like Prague, you're going to notice the great disparity. You pay so much, but you won't get to see a whole lot in return. Hotel prices are more expensive compared to places like Rome, and that's even for a room that's half the size. But hey, you're there to explore the city and not sulk in your room, so room size and other amenities shouldn't matter a whole lot. To avoid disappointment, set your expectations that you'll possibly be using a shared bathroom. If you're willing to make some sacrifices just to feel like Emily in Paris, then by all means, do so. However, if you want to be comfortable as much as possible while only spending a certain amount of money, then you might want to go somewhere else. Lastly, there are plenty of other great cities to explore nearby. Paris is not the only charming city in the whole of France or on the continent of Europe. Yes, it is France's capital and it is the largest city in the country, but there are nearby cities that are just as or even more charming. There's other cities that you can visit which have beautiful architecture that's not loaded with tourists. And don't even worry about the food because food's everywhere in France. And the best part is it's all great. So you don't necessarily have to nickel and dime your way through the city to satisfy your palate. Nice, for example, is particularly captivating because it has excellent weather all year round, and it also has vibrant nightlife and stunning beaches. Lyon is the second most important city after Paris, and it remains undiscovered despite all the great things that it has to offer. It has a history that dates back to Roman times and is on the UNESCO World Heritage List. It has captivating historic quarters, old world charm, and of course, world-class cuisine. A lot of food connoisseurs even go there because of the legendary French chef Paul Busco, who has a renowned Michelin star restaurant called the Agua de Pont de Colon. The point is, look at other nearby options before you set your mind on Paris. And while these are valid reasons to skip Paris and go elsewhere, there's no sense avoiding the city if you're going to be kicking yourself when you get back home for missing it. Paris is still a wonderful experience, but it isn't spared the usual problems which major tourist attractions have. If it's your life's dream to visit Paris, then by all means, knock yourself out. Stay safe and enjoy the city. But for now, we'll be ending this video, and we'll see you next time on the next one.